kind of getting ready, and then we will take questions for coaches. Fantastic.
Well, I want to first start by thanking everybody for being here. This is obviously an exciting time for our program with the start of the season being, a week away on Friday. So, final touches and getting us ready here with a few more scrimmages as we speed to the end. It's been a great fall. Our players have done a tremendous job. First and foremost in the weight room, Nico Torres, our strength conditioning coach, has done a tremendous job with our guys. Our guys have realized real strength gains and speed gains. And so, the game of baseball requires physical abilities, and he's done a tremendous job, and he's gotten a lot of buy-in from our players. So very excited about where they're positioned with their bodies and their health. Certainly the coaching staff has done a tremendous job as well in terms of teaching the game of baseball and the things that they're trying to get across with their specific position groups. Very excited about just seeing those kind of things come to fruition and their labor coming out on stage here in another week or so. So very pleased with how quickly the staff has bonded with our current players and the strides that they've made. From where we were in August to where we are today, we've made tremendous strides, and that's to be a reflection of our entire staff. So very proud of those efforts, and we've got a lot of ball to play here in the next five or so months. Yeah, well, I'll start in left field. Certainly hoping that Jackson Lynn is healthy enough to go out there and be able to throw the ball accurately and, with something on it. So that's still a work in progress. He could be DHing, and if he is, that would be, kind of a matchup situation in left field. So we'll just kind of play that as Jackson kind of leads us to where he is physically. And he's made tremendous strides as an outfielder and just in general as a player. When he first got here, his routes in the outfield weren't tremendous. His base running skills were pretty rudimentary. So I'm really proud of the fact that he came back, and he came back for the right reasons, and the progress that he's made. And it's kind of our little running joke in practice when I look at him and he makes a play or steals a base or makes a great base running read. We just kind of look at each other without saying it, and we know what we're talking about. So really proud of him. Third base, Simon Baumgart, is an older guy, and so he's been through the battles, and so he's right now. We start tomorrow. He's our starting third baseman, and he's done a great job. He asked for that last year. I challenged him. I wasn't sure he was ready for that. He's taken that to another level. So, he'll probably be hitting a little bit towards the bottom of the order, 7-ish. But he's been a real steady force over at third base for us, and just happy with the gains that he's made. Yeah, I mean, I think he's been a huge reason for the gains that we've made just in terms of buy-in. I think the guys look up to him. They respect him. I mean, he's been in, this is his third program, so he's seen multiple programs and how they operate, how people are treated, the teachings and so forth. So, he was a guy last year that had a tremendous fall last year, didn't really catch it until the end. We got him back in the lineup at the end, and he had a good conference tournament. So he didn't really get what he wanted, and sometimes when you don't get what you want, it's hard to stand out there and be the right kind of person and a leader and still be able to, hold the standard of the program. And he did that, and then he's taken that to another level this year. And the guys respect him. He's always where he's supposed to be. He's doing extra. He's in the clubhouse early and late. He catches all the bullpens, along with our other catchers. But, we kind of have a thing as in the program is, don't tell people what to do if you're not willing to do the same thing. And so, he's the guy with the rake and asking guys to get rakes and clean this up and, hey, this isn't how this works. So he's been a great leader for us, along with the several other of the older guys. So this is their program. It's player led, and we really try to push them that way and let them hold each other accountable. And then if it gets to us, then of course we need to hold them accountable. Mm-hmm. How's that? How big a Yeah, I mean, depth is always going to be an issue in college baseball. I think as we move forward in college baseball, you probably see a little bit more depth happening because the draft went from 40 to 20 rounds, so more guys will start sneaking into college baseball. I think for us, with an $83,000 price tag, depth is probably always going to be a challenge. I'm not saying impossible, but the guys we have that are in a depth kind of role or backup kind of role, really pleased with their development and the way that they've accepted their roles and the way they continue to develop. And I think a lot of that also comes from our communication with them. We try to be open and transparent to them so that they understand the roles that they're in, so that they can prepare themselves mentally and physically for the things that they're being asked to do. If they're not a frontline guy and they need to get in the weight room during the season and need to dedicate themselves in the cages or pitch design or what have you, they can do that. And for me, that comes with a level of trust and communication. And so, yes, depth will always be a concern. We do need to stay healthy, no question. And part of that's our responsibility too, how we manage them in non-game days and even in game days. Maybe it's one less day of BP, or 2 less infield outfields, or maybe it's a day off here and there that maybe they didn't think they were going to get. So there are ways that we're going to have to get creative with keeping their bodies healthy. But I think the other thing that gets overlooked is keeping their minds healthy. So that, again, that's on us. We're the adults. So that's our mission, is to help them help themselves. So when we get to May, we're the best version of ourselves and we're moving in an upward trajectory that puts us in position to be a postseason team, which some people out there don't believe we are. So
Let's add in our 2 players. Just give Coach Uhlman maybe a break. Yeah.
Hello.
Hey, Pat.
Running Lambert all the way to your right, Christian Sanchez all the way to your left.
You talked to me previous year. I've heard really good things about the way you stepped up. What do you see as your role?
Yeah, I mean, I think my role is to be that leader, that older guy that younger guys can come talk to. I mean, I think that's important for a program to have, and we have big aspirations for this program, and it starts with the leaders, and I think we have multiple leaders from the top down, even younger guys stepping up and becoming better versions of themselves, and that's the goal here. It's kind of graduate better people than you've started. So I think taking that role and taking that leadership role was very important, and I take it personal. So yeah. Yeah, I think it's staying within ourselves, playing our game, kind of like Jay says, play the game, not the opponent. And I think if we do that, good things are going to happen. And I think this is a very talented team that could definitely make a run to Omaha. And so if we do that and do the little things right, I think y'all are going to like the outcome.
I would say that the most I've improved is mentally. This year I have a lot more confidence than I had last year, and that's all credit to these guys right here and putting me in the opportunities for me to grow and change, not only as a baseball player but as an individual. And just mentally and physically, I just grew a lot over the past fall, and I'm very thankful for what happened last year, but I'm excited to see what happens this year. I think failure is the biggest learner in life, and I had some failure last year, but I'm very thankful for it because it pushed me into who I am this year, and I'm just excited to play, excited to get after it.
Coaches, the pitching staff, it's all new to you, but there are a lot of opportunities for a lot of guys to take roles heading into this year, whether they're here or otherwise. How have you seen the pitching staff kind of ebb and flow to where the guy to your right is going to probably make the conversation?
Yeah, I think first and foremost, you just got to look at it holistically. When you come in, you don't really know much about the pieces that you have, just kind of from what hearsay. So as the evaluation part of that starts in the fall, you sit there and you're like, okay, at the end of the day, like, this guy can do this and this guy can do that. I don't really look into what last year's numbers were very much, because at the end of the day, they're constantly changing who they are as people. And I think the biggest thing for me was trying to get a relationship with all of them and trying to create that trust. So when we do get to working on things, they know that I want what's in their best interest. And just to see certain guys take certain roles. I mean, Christian, since day one, has just been open the whole time and making adjustments and just having that conversation piece with me. And, you know, I told him from the get-go, I said, look, man, at the end of the day, whether you fail or not, I'm going to continue to keep running you out there so we can get what's best for you and what's best for us out of this thing. So he's done an unbelievable job with that, and just the staff in itself has been fun to watch and just kind of grow into different roles. Really, it's his athleticism. He's a competitor. He's willing to learn every day, and he just gives us a chance on Saturdays with his repertoire of pitches and just what he does, you know, to give us the best chance to win. And I'm excited to see what kind of year he has for sure.
Guys, everything WG, you know, there's a real excitement and real energy regarding Tulane athletics at the moment. We do football, basketball, both men's and women's. Are you guys aware of that energy? Can you feed off it? And how can it translate to baseball this season?
Yeah, I mean, I was at the Cotton Bowl with the staff to see what Coach Fritz and them have done with the football program. We were at women's tennis yesterday, and to see what Maru and Carrie have been able to do with them, it's an exciting time. You know, I was away from this program for a little while, and then to be able to come back and kind of watch it from afar, and just to feel the energy. We have people in this room right now that are big supporters, and we really appreciate them being here. And it's been good to see Coach Uhlman, you know, bring the alumni back, and just the things that we've been able to do that way to put that excitement back into this program. And I definitely feel like at the end of the day, people are going to be excited about these young men up here and what they're going to be able to bring on the baseball side of things. But just the support and the people that want to be back involved in this program is exciting.
You know, you talk about football, Cotton Bowl, you talk about women's tennis, and of course basketball tonight. Have you guys really kind of chomped at the bit, exciting? You've been on the sideline now, you're ready to jump in and show what you can do?
Yeah, I think I'm tired of watching a computer screen and looking at somebody else, and I'm actually ready to play them. And just for these guys up here, I know they want to get out there and get after it. They've been going as hard as they possibly can for the past 3-4 weeks, and just ready to play somebody with a different uniform on.
Of course, you guys talk about the season opening up. 4 games, I believe, on the West Coast. Then you come home for, I think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I think 13 of 14 games right here at home. How important is it for you guys to find your legs out west and be able to take advantage of that homestand? And is that homestand an advantage?
You want me to answer that?
Absolutely.
Well, I think anytime you can get on the road and face the challenges of the road, it's a good thing regardless of opponent. But when you go to an opponent that's going to present different challenges, I think that's going to prepare us for what's to come in the AAC and where we're headed. So I think what you're trying to do when you schedule is trying to balance a schedule that allows for strain, stress, and also for growth. So I think we've accomplished that. We're certainly going to have our hands full with the travel. That's certainly going to be something that we're going to have to be mature about and be able to, again, to Gary's point, we're going to have to be able to help them manage themselves and stay healthy and read the room, so to speak, and be able to, hey, let's do less today, or hey, we need to do more, we're not doing enough. So just the ability to be able to kind of read our players, which I think that's one of our strengths. I'm not sure how good we coach baseball, but I think we do a good job of relationships and reading people. So that's going to be, we're going to have to do a really good job of that so that we're able to stay fresh. And but, like I told these guys several occasions here since we've been back, the investment that they've made is going to allow them to stay in the fight longer. And I've been doing this a long time, and I've been parts of teams, and I've seen teams that when April and May hits, the dog days of college summer, so to speak, teams are ready to cash it in. They're ready to go home, or they're ready to go on to summer ball, and they've quit. This group, what they've been able to do amongst each other and the extra work that they've put in and the hay they've put in the barn is going to keep them from quitting before the other guy does, and they're going to have something to play for and something to prove. And so, again, we can say all the things that we want. I've said this a million times, but we're going to have to do it, and we're going to have to show it, and we're going to have to give people a reason to, come to Turchin and spend their money to watch us play baseball, and we're going to have to do that. Nobody else can do that but us.
Yeah, I think there's about 5 to 6 guys that could potentially be in that role. Which is a good feeling to have as a pitching coach. But Chandler Welch, you look at T.O. Banks, you look at Michael Lombardi, Gavin Smith, just a few of those guys to name. They've done a really good job. And in that, you got a transfer from Billy Price from UVA. That's done a really nice job as well. So that's a good feeling for us kind of going into the season. Nobody's really locked that role up, but they're definitely pushing hard for it with a week left. I think the game kind of dictates that for us. We definitely want a guy that's the best fit for the matchup that we're going into. And I think that when you have that kind of variety of those type players at your disposal, that's something that you definitely feel good about.
Definitely the road less traveled from a guy from the staff that had not made it to a regional. Do you feel like everybody's talked to you likes you automatically? Do you feel like you've won over the room at this point? You already won over with your players, but just in general, or is that to be determined by the results?
Well, I think you're always held hostage to how the results happen. There's a scoreboard, there's a win-loss column. So I think being a good human being is really important. I think it buys you certain things. I think being transparent and honest with people is important. I just think dealing with relationships is really important. It makes, when things are more difficult, it makes the road less bumpy. It gives you the opportunity to mend fences. The ability to listen is going to be important. So do I hope so. I'd like to think that I have, but I certainly can't speak for everyone. We have worked very hard as a program since I took over to really re-engage folks, to let them know it's their program, that I want people to feel a part of this. It's not just us insulated against everybody else, and it's our will against your will. I think you do things with people. It's people. For me, it's people over policy. It's people over, scheme, so to speak. I love everything about this guy. His personality's tremendous. He's engaging. He's smart. Not to mention he's a really good baseball player. He can hit the ball over the scoreboard. He can drop down a bunt if he needs to drop it down. He's an underrated base runner, and he's a heck of a leader. And he's really improved as a catcher. I think last year he would probably tell you that he was probably the third catcher defensively. And some of that was probably press, probably knocking the rust off from the previous year and so forth. But he's really dedicated himself to catching. And, that Coach Brittle's done a great job with him. And, last year we had Coach Core who also worked with the catchers. But, I think our catchers do a good job also teaching themselves. And it's not just the catchers, but it's the infielders, it's the outfielders, it's the pitchers. When you get into pro ball, it's not about the coach. It's not about the minor league roving instructor who's going to come in and try to screw up your swing or mess with your mechanics, right? It's always going to be about the players and their relationship and their ability to share their thoughts because they're the ones that are playing. And like I always tell them, it sure is a lot easier to hit from the side or in the stands than it is actually in the box. But this guy epitomizes everything that I hope our players will continue to be for this institution and city as long as I'm here, which I hope is a long time.
Yeah, I've improved tremendously with the help of Coach Brittle and Seth and Reed kind of holding me accountable, pushing me forward. And I think it's kind of important to have a really close relationship with all catchers, and like those two guys are some of my best friends, and I want nothing but the best and success for them, and they want the same for me. So it's kind of like a friendship, and we all hold each other accountable, and we all push each other, and we're all trying to get better, and we're all trying to win. That's the big thing. We all want to win, and I think a lot of that culture is the winning culture is part of this team, and I'm looking forward to showing and putting out a product that wins. So yeah, I love Coach Iz. I love all the pitchers. They make me catch a little too many bullpens, but other than that, it's awesome working with Iz. Iz is a guy that you can go talk to at any time of the day, and I really cherish that relationship with you. So,
well, I'll say this: it's always good when you're a pitching coach and you have a catching core that you feel like are the second set of eyes in game. You can make adjustments with them, all that type of stuff. And I definitely, even in our inter-squad games, just to be able to communicate with these guys about our own hitters and pitching against them and just being able to make those adjustments and getting on the same page, that you can't really put a price tag on that. And we're fortunate. We have 3 really good ones that listen and want to do things the right way. And I think a lot of that has to do with just who they work with every day. We got Coach Brittle and obviously Coach Bridgman as well. I think you're a product of your environment, and they see how we go about our business, just working with our head coach, and I think those things are important. So to have him, Reed, and Seth we're fortunate to have all 3 of them for sure.